Hey everybody, it's Lynnea, and I have another video for you today on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be mixing some of the new release items that just released a few days ago. I'm using the Footprints background as well as the Slimline Connected Bubbles frame die set. I'm going to be mixing that with some older items, the Polka Dot Stencil and the Sew and To stamp set. So to start off with, I'm going to make some backgrounds with the Footprints background stamp. I've inked it up with Versamark ink, and I'm just going to lay a piece of white cardstock over the top. I'm going to repeat this process 3 times so that I have a total of 4 pieces of cardstock, and I will white heat emboss this with just some fine detail white powder. It's hard to see right now because it's white on white, but I'm going to bring in my inks and do a little bit of blending. So as I blend, I'll just kind of explain a little bit about these cards. I'm making 2 Slimline cards today, and when I saw this Footprints background stamp, I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, look at these cute little baby footprints. So I thought that I would make a couple of baby cards. Baby cards are something that I never make, so when I have a friend who's having a baby and I need a card, I end up having to sit down and make a card for her, which is totally fine because then it's custom just for her, but I would like to have some on hand. So I thought I would make one that's traditionally girl colors and one that is traditionally boy colors. So I'm going to be doing some shades of pink on one card and then some shades of blue on another. So you saw me blend some pink inks there, and I started with one panel of the heat embossed Footprints background stamp, and I applied my darkest color of pink ink, and then I kind of blended that up into the medium. And now I'm working on a second piece of heat embossed cardstock, and I'm going to use that same medium color and blend that up into my lightest color. I'm just using a blender brush for this, and I have that cloth off to the side so that in between colors I can just wipe that off. And you're going to see me hold up the die here in a minute, the Slimline Connected Bubbles die. This is new, and this is the reason why I needed to heat emboss this twice for one card, because the die is for a Slimline card and the background stamp is not. I'm just going to stretch that background stamp out just a little bit so that I can have it stretch across that whole Slimline Connected Bubbles. It's hard to explain, but I hope that you can kind of see it in action and understand what I'm doing here. So I did that same thing with blues. I started with dark blue into a medium blue on one piece of cardstock, and then I used a medium blue into a light on a second piece. And when I die cut my first piece, my dark into my medium, I die cut the bottom of that Slimline Connected Bubbles die. Now that I'm moving on to my second piece, where I'm using the lightest color of ink and the medium color, I'm going to die cut the top of the Slimline Connected Bubbles. And it's just going to, I'm going to use these pieces as like a puzzle piece. So it's totally okay that it's not going to be continuous. I'll show you later how it's all going to work out. I wanted to have a simple background for my Slimline card, so I grabbed the Polka Dot Stencil. I love stencils like this that are so versatile that it could be snow. If you did bright colors, it could be confetti. For me, I just wanted to use it as a polka dot in the background. So I'm going to use some gray ink, and I'm going to just use a little bit of tape to hold that onto my card and a little bit of tape as well for masking. And I will just blend some ink over the top here, and you're going to see that I'm not only stretching my die for this card, I'm going to stretch my stencil too. This is what I do a lot of times for using stencils on Slimline cards, because my stencil is a 6x6 stencil and my Slimline card is 8 1/4 inches long. I'm just going to stencil once and then shift this down, use a bit of tape again to mask off so that I don't go off the top of my stencil, and finish blending ink onto the bottom of my card. And just like that, I have a full stenciled Slimline card, and you can't even tell. So now it's time to puzzle piece these pieces together. So I'm going to use some liquid glue. You could definitely, before die cutting, use some double-sided adhesive on the back of this Slimline Connected Bubbles die. I didn't think of it, so I'm just going to use liquid adhesive, and I'm using an adhesive that's going to dry strong and really hold on tight so that these pieces don't go anywhere. I have a fine tip applicator on here because this frame is kind of skinny, so I can just add a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to add this right to the center of my Slimline card. Once I have that there, I'm just going to start puzzle piecing these pieces back in. And this is where you're going to be able to see that it doesn't matter that I didn't blend one continuous piece of cardstock for that emboss resist technique, because I just took the pieces and kind of made them work for what I wanted them to be. So when I die cut the top of this Slimline Connected Bubbles die from the lighter pieces of cardstock, I can just puzzle piece those pieces back in to the top of my card. And for the darker ones, they're going to go right at the bottom. So I just kind of selected the pieces that were whole with the colors that I wanted, and I'm just going to piece them back together for both the blue and the pink. This went super quick, super easy. I started with the bigger pieces. I found that was easier, and then the little pieces I would have left over. So rather than weeding through all my pieces and trying to find those little ones first, I got the big ones out of the way, and then all I had left over were the little ones, and it was easy to find the correct places for them and pop them in and puzzle piece them in as well. Really, this is quite easy. I showed you the majority of doing this one card. It is sped up a little bit, but I hope you can see how easy this technique is. And here are both of my two completed backgrounds, one with the blue and one with the pink. Both of them I did that same polka dot stencil background in gray so that it would be a nice neutral color. Now to finish off these cards, all that's left to do is add some sentiments. So I have the Sew and 2 stamp set. It's a cute little 3x4 stamp set, and I just created these little sentiment strips that say "Too sweet for words." I mounted them up with some foam tape and added them to the center-ish of my cards, and I added some little pearl gem type things to
and these
match.
cards
so pink
are
for the
all
girl,
done.
blue
Thanks
for the
for
boy.
joining me.
I will see you guys again really soon. Bye.